Hello, my name is Laura Lopez, and I am with the TTU Ethics Center. And today we are meeting with Dr. Florencio Aranda.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Florencio Aranda III, and I'm really excited today to be speaking with you all. I currently work at South Dakota State University as the Multicultural Latino Retention Advisor in the Office of Multicultural Affairs.
How does the Code of Ethics play a role in your profession?
Well, for me in my role and in the work that we do, it's very important in that we have a philosophy where we put students first, where we need to ensure that we're doing it in a way that honors, respects, and values our students, especially knowing that we're working with students that come from multiple backgrounds and that have multiple beliefs and who love and feel and do things in multiple and unique ways, and ensuring that we validate who they are, that we, are still there to serve them regardless of their thought process or of their way of being or, where they come from.
How important is ethics in your profession?
It's very important because we are confronted every single day with unique challenges. With the college students that we see on a daily basis, we need to um, honor who they are and we need to respect who they are in a way that is inclusive, in a way that we're building trust around them, and so to ensure that we make them feel welcomed regardless of who they are, of where they come from, what beliefs they might have, whether it's political, whether it's gender expression or orientation, whether it's family beliefs, whatever the case might be, ethics and the way that we treat people has to always be fair and just, and inclusivity is essential for us, because we need to, as an office and for me as an individual, I vowed and we have vowed to always make students feel like they are part of the university, that they especially a part of our multicultural center, where everyone is welcomed, where everyone is celebrated, where everyone is recognized, and and especially physically in the center where anyone is included, is regarded, and is celebrated um, no matter who you are, where you come from, or what you look like, what you say, how you speak. Because at the end of the day, if we're doing that and being inclusive and welcoming, we're helping our students succeed as best we can.
How did the instruction you received at Texas Tech University influence your profession?
I really like this question, especially because I owe so much to Texas Tech University. I started there as an undergraduate student in 2004 in Spanish and political science. And it was there that I started to really hone in on who I was as an individual, as a Latino American, as a Mexican American for that matter. I was always connected to my culture. I was always connected to the language, but it was at Texas Tech University where I started to realize that I was in a unique position being from a small border town in West Texas, where the majority of the population looked and thought like me and spoke like me. But at Texas Tech University, I started to really see who I was as a Mexican American and at a predominantly white institution. And I started honing in on those skills, learning about my culture, learning about the language, learning about who I was as a person as I navigated these systems, these educational systems that maybe were not built for me initially in the first place. It was also there where I realized who I was socially in terms of my identity. I started to solidify who I was as a Latino pursuing higher education. Fortunately, I was able to stay at Texas Tech University and continue that education with two masters and then my PhD. And during the PhD program, being at a D1 institution, I was pursuing higher PhD in higher education. And it was there that I looked around the room and I saw very few people of color, and in particular, men of color. And so I started to ask myself, what am I doing here? And why am I one of the lonely onlys, as I'd like to say it? Why am I one of the only men of color? What have I done that is unique to what have I done to get me here? And why aren't other males of color here in this profession or in this educational um, discipline? And that's what actually started to spark my interest in the research that I do. So I started looking at men of color as as a part of the educational pathway. Um, and so I started to look at the educational pathways of men of color. And I saw the educational factors that were most impacting them positively and negatively in education. And so I realized that once I obtained that PhD, that I entered an elite world where I was a part of the 2% of the population with a PhD. But then I entered an even smaller world of being a Latino male with a PhD. And from there, one would think that one would become big headed or cocky or things like that. But for me, it actually humbled me and made me realize that because I was able to not fall through the cracks like others from my cultural background or population, others from the Latino population, I I started to build this sense of responsibility to use the voice that I had, the education that I obtained, in order to serve as an advocate and as a representative and as a role model for Latinos and Latinas in the United States. And especially having that PhD made me gain a new sense of understanding and a new sense of responsibility to create what I call my life's mission now of giving back to Latinos, Latinas through education and being of service to them as they pursue a college education. And that really honed in on my career pathways in that I decided to make student affairs and in particular working in diversity related offices within student affairs so that I could continue to give back to those members of my cultural population, so the Latino population. And so Texas Tech really did that for me. Texas Tech solidified that for me because it made me who I am today. And the knowledge that I have obtained throughout the years at Texas Tech University have really prepared me to be the advocate that I am today. And I use that education daily when I work at this university here in South Dakota. Um, and when I'm working with not only the Latino population here at South Dakota State, but also with our students with disabilities, our African American students, international students, students that are part of the LGBTQ plus community, our veterans, and the list goes on. I've been very fortunate to um, find the intersectionality of our students, and really create programs and initiatives and events that celebrate not only the Latinos here at South Dakota, but all populations at South Dakota State University. And so I really have Texas Tech and the instruction obtained at Texas Tech for preparing me to be this this top notch advocate that I have become, and it's all because of Texas Tech.
Well, thank you for that answer. What role may ethics have as the world transforms from chaos?
I really I appreciate this question because we find ourselves in a we or rather we found ourselves in a situation where people were starting to lose sight of what is most important in life. We oftentimes discuss like what are the most important things in your life, and I do that in safe spaces with my students, and I ask them what's important to you, and almost always students say what's important to me is family, what's important to me are friendships. And in this current moment, those friendships and those family ties are being tested because we are having to, distance ourselves from individuals. But what I appreciate about the current situation that we're in is that it's making us realize that that is what matters. Appreciation for the small interaction, the family dinners, the get-togethers, or the candid, very spontaneous conversations down the hall with your colleagues, or having, for me, especially for me in my role, just having a student randomly pop in and say, "Hey, Dr. Aranda, I wanted to talk to you about XYZ," or just, being able to leave the office and have a student tell me, "Because of you, I felt this sort of way," or "Because of you, I actually passed my class." And I think that my goal is for people to start to see um, that the way that they live their own lives, and the actions that they do within their own lives has consequences. And I'm hoping that these individuals start to see, and start to do actions that are more meaningful, that are less petty, that are less materialistic, and that we go back to where we appreciate humanity, where we have those candid and one of a kind face to face interactions, and where we can just learn to appreciate each and everyone. Fortunately, with technology, we're still able to connect with individuals, but technology has also forced um, has also created, you know, these types of bullying that takes place through cyber connections. You know, oftentimes you have people roasting and belittling each other through social media and in that type of situation, or those types of platforms. But I hope that as we move forward, as we exit this chaos, that we start to that we've learned from the situation and we appreciate one another regardless of who we love, what we do, where we come from, that we can start to be compassionate, empathetic, and understanding and bring back what really matters, which is love, you know, prosperity, and just a sense of humanity. And I hope that we learn that as we navigate these difficult times and as we transition back into what will be normal again. And I don't think our population will ever be normal because we've been impacted so much by this. But I'm hoping that something beautiful comes out of it where we start to appreciate humanity and one another once again.
Thank you for your time.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
have a good day and stay safe.
Yes, likewise. Take care.